good morning, everybody. Happy Wisdom, no, not Wisdom Wednesday. That was yesterday. Happy Tactful Thursday. I can't believe it's Thursday already. Tactful Thursday. And it's no coincidence. Like, I didn't plan it this way, but what a great day to talk about mental health at work than being tactful and being intentional about what we say and how we say it, being prayerful about our intention. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I pray that you're having a wonderful morning. I pray that you are not just surviving this morning, but you are thriving and that you have great expectation for today and all that God is going to do today through you, not just for you, but through you, to be a blessing to everyone around you, to be a blessing to your team, to be a blessing to your organization, to move you all forward. That's what we're called to do. And so I just want to speak that blessing over you all and know that you're not on this journey alone in leadership, that I'm here to support you. This community is here to support you. I'm Dr. Juanita Mercer. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief heart leader at Leap My Heart Executive Coaching and Consulting. And what you're watching is this month's series called Grace in Leadership. Now, I do want to give a house notes here is that, yes, I do have a lisp. Okay. I am on day 4, something like that, of my treatment for my alignment of my teeth. So I am wearing my aligners. There we go. So until I get used to it, I do have a small lisp. So I'm over pronunciating. You're going to see my mouth work like that. But I'm being very intentional about that so that you can understand everything I say. Okay. And taking more pauses as needed. So I just wanted to let you know that. But also, as people are joining the stream, you know what I want you to do, and that is to share this video, share this stream right now. Don't wait. Don't wait until later because you'll forget. You'll get busy. You'll move on. I get it. I understand. I'm the same way. So stop what you're doing and share this stream. Okay. Share it on your timeline, share it in that group that you're in on Facebook or LinkedIn. Also, you can copy the link of the stream and share it in a text message or an email as well. Okay. Because this is going to truly, truly be a blessing to you. I pray that you even share this within your organization because it's going to be uplifting. We're going to have some difficult conversation here, but we're also going to create that safe space to just be able to reflect and learn and be able to move forward and be moved to action, okay, about what it is that we need to do, not only for our mental health, but for everyone's mental health that we serve. Everyone around us. Okay. So I also want those of you who are on YouTube to subscribe to this channel. Okay. And then also ring my bell. Ring my bell at the top so that you don't miss any new content. Okay. This stuff is, let me tell you, I love what I do. I love what we're talking about. And before it has the ability to be a blessing to someone else, to convict someone else, to move someone else to action, it has to be able to do that for me. And I want to let you know that I am being blessed by the conversations, by the hard topics, by what we're talking about. And it's impacting my leadership. And so I just wanted to let you know that it's touching my heart, is dealing with me. Before it ever gets the opportunity to touch your heart and deal with you. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so blessed to do what I do. And then also, okay, I want you to react. Let me know that you're here. Say hello, say good morning, throw up those hearts, those likes, those sad faces, however you want to react to the content. You're welcome to do that. And then, of course, I always invite you all to be a part of this learning community. If there's some stats you want to drop in, some articles you want to drop in, some comments you want to drop in, some incitement, some that you want to drop in the comment section, you go right ahead and do that. I don't know everything. No one knows everything. And so I invite us to lock arms and join in this conversation and just grow this learning community. Okay. So those are all the kind of housekeeping notes, the house notes right there. So we can go ahead and get in today's content. So let me get set up here. There we go. And by the way, I am using Restream to go live. I really do like it. I mean, while I'm getting set up here, it's very user-friendly. There we go. All right. We're ready. You're ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about grace and leadership? But more importantly, grace for you. Grace for you this morning as we talk about mental health at work. For those of you who may not know, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, okay? And so absolutely we have to talk about this in the workplace. I see articles all over LinkedIn and Facebook, blog articles about mental health and the status. And y'all, it's not good. It is not good. But I speak to us right now with the power of the Holy Spirit to declare that, you know what? We don't have to stay where we are. The challenges of yesterday don't have to be the challenges of tomorrow. That we can make a change, that we can come out of the depression, the anxiety, the things that we've been dealing with, and we can be anew. We can start a new thing in our life, y'all, and embark on a new path and come out of the anguish, come out of the darkness, come out of the clouds that surround us regarding our mental health, and begin to hope again, begin to have joy again, begin to feel that rest and that sense of renewal and refreshing again. And I speak to you today wanting you to know and believe that that is your portion. That is what God wants for you. That is what I want for you. And it can be yours, but we have to do the work. Okay. And so we're gonna talk about this today in mental health and what it is that we need to be not only aware of, but what do we need to move on. Okay. So let's start by talking about what is grace. I've defined this. Okay. The last 2 episodes. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page that grace is, number one, free. It's free. It costs you nothing. I know there are people who would love to manipulate you and make you think it costs you something. It's going to cost you your reputation. It's going to cost you your authority, your executive presence, and all of that. Or you're going to be indebted to someone. Now you owe them something. Nope. Grace is free. And it is unmerited. You haven't earned it. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing you have to get right. There's nothing you have to accomplish. There's nothing you have to fulfill in order to earn it. The mere fact that you're imperfect, the mere fact that you are broken, that you have weaknesses qualifies you. It deems you worthy of grace. And that's all you need to know. Why is this? Because number one, it's not ours. It's not a natural human condition. It's from God. That's why it's so beautiful, so amazing, so wonderful, because it's created. Okay, that's why. It's not natural for us as humans to want to extend grace, but it's of our Father, and it's manifested in our salvation because God is so good that even while we were rejecting him, refusing to worship him, refusing to be in relationship with him, he deemed us worthy of sending his son to die for us. That was grace. The forgiveness that he extended before we ever repented and said that we were sorry. The patience that he has extended because he does not want anyone to perish, but he gives everyone time to come into relationship with him. That is grace. and is also manifested in his continuous blessings. He blesses us again and again and again and again and again because he's just that good. And I'm just so grateful to him for all that he's done by extending his grace. And what we're really talking about is grace as a person, Jesus, his son. And I'm so grateful for his son and the life that he lived. And so that's what grace is. And then he's asked us in first, he's requested of us, okay, to be stewards of his grace in many various forms. How? Using the gifts that he's given us to serve one another. And one of those gifts is the gift of leadership, okay? But we also have to realize that leadership exists in 3 different dimensions. 3 different dimensions. I teach this, I stand by this. Leadership is not one-dimensional. We often think of it only in terms of you leading others. No, 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 no. No, there's another dimension of leadership. Okay, and that is followership. How can anyone be a leader unless they have someone they're leading? Leadership is a partnership within itself. It's an agreement. It's a covenant. It's a contract, however you want to look at that, but it's being on the same page. Two are coming together, 2 or more, and saying, this is what this is. This is a leadership, partnership, it's a followership relationship here. And so follower says, I have a duty, a responsibility. There are things I need to do. There are things that I have agreed to. And giving you permission to lead me. Okay? It also says that within this leadership partnership, that I understand that you can't do it alone. That I have to support you even in your leading me. And that I have a role in how you lead me. I can impact. I can influence, just like we talk about with leadership. I can motivate you in how you lead me. I love talking about followership. We don't talk enough about it. That's all right. I'm going to talk more about what that looks like, okay, as I continue my series and teaching. Heartpreneurship. What is that? That's my cute little term for personal leadership. Personal leadership, which affects both how you lead others and how others lead you. How do you lead yourself? What kind of decisions do you make for yourself? How do you motivate yourself? How do you inspire yourself? How do you make sure that you're okay and able to show up as a leader, able to show up as a follower? Because of how you show up for yourself. That's what heartpreneurship is all about, ensuring that we show up for ourselves. So let's talk about leadership. Okay, let's get into that first because it's the one that we're most familiar with. But let's talk about what does grace towards our team look like with regards to mental health. I saw this, y'all, yesterday, and I'm fully aware of the implications of this statistic, but to see it in very plain terms was like, wow. And I think you're going to be wild too. Check this out. Okay, according to a study by Workforce Institute at UKG, where they surveyed over 3,400 people across 10 countries, okay? So this is not just the United States, okay? This is taking in consideration different people from different backgrounds. Nonetheless, what they found was that Nearly 70%, 69% to be exact, but nearly 70% of people say that their managers, their supervisors, their leaders have the greatest impact on their mental health. Did you hear that? Let me say that again. Nearly 70% of people say that their managers have the greatest impact, not some impact, not a little impact, the greatest impact on their mental health, which is on par, which is about the same as the impact of their partner, their spouse, that significant other. And this was more than the impact of a doctor, where people said 51% of their doctor has an impact on their mental health. Only 41% said their therapist has an impact on their mental health, y'all. You know why that's low? I'll talk about it again in a second, because most people refuse therapy. You don't want to admit that you need therapy. So I don't think it's a matter of the impact being low. I think it also has to do with exposure. Most people don't even have a PCP, a primary care physician. I'm learning that. Like, as I date, y'all, I literally ask men, like, do you have a PCP? I kid you not, because that matters. Like, that tells me kind of your priorities. It tells me, the care that you put into yourself as a leader. Yes, you're making great impact in the work that you do, but like, how are you taking care of yourself? Do you have a PCP? Do you know what's going on with your body? Are you aware? Are you in tune with, your health and all of that? That matters. It matters. So I don't think this is a matter of, again, when we look at statistics, we have to kind of look at the different caveats regarding this. And I think this has a lot to do with exposure. Okay. But let's talk about more about how leaders impact us and our mental health and why. There are 10 things to consider. Number one, influence and authority. Influence. Where do you spend 2/3 of your life? Not at home with your family, not with your friends, doing all the things that you love to do. You spend 2/3 or more of your life at work, in organizations, at your business, with people that you refuse to consider as family, but you're with them more than your family, with people you refuse to consider friends and want to get to know because you want to convince yourself that it's just work. It's not just work, it's your life. And that's why I don't use work-life balance. That's ridiculous. What do you mean work-life balance? That insinuates that when you go to work, your life stops, and when you leave work, your life begins. Absolutely not. You live at work too. You're accountable for what you do at work too. That's why it's important that you're living out your purpose, that you're working out your purpose, that you feel like you're doing something meaningful and fulfilling with 2/3 of your life. This is not a little thing. So, of course, leaders have such a major impact on your mental health because you're around them or you're being influenced by them and what they do, the decisions that they make all the time, most of your life. But then it's also their authority to dictate what you do, how you do it, in many cases, to dictate the kind of job or role that you have, to dictate how many hours you work, to dictate what the expectations are, what the objectives are, to dictate whether you get a promotion, whether you're going to get a higher salary. Okay, that stuff matters. Absolutely, it matters. So not only do they have that influence, and the exposure that, to you in the environment that you spend most of your time in, but they also have that authority to dictate many of the things that you experience at work. But even with that, has greater authority than those leaders? The one who holds the leaders' hearts in their hand, and that's God. That's God. That's why it's so important to pray to God about your leaders, to pray for your leaders, to pray regarding what their decisions and what they do and how they do it and their intentions towards you. Because I'm here to tell you that no matter their influence or authority, there's someone still they're submitted to. And that is God, your Father. And He tells us in His word that He holds the king's heart in His hand. And He can dictate and motivate or manipulate, if you will, that king's heart any way He wants to. And so I want that to be encouraging to someone right now who's having a difficult time with their leader. Pray for them. Yield that situation to God, okay? Also, work leaders, have a major impact on the work environment and culture. If you have a leader who's authoritative, who is very emotional, yells, talks loud, very direct, it's going to really put a negative impact on the work environment versus a leader who's positive, who's sincere, who has high emotional intelligence, and knows how to talk to people, use the right tone. Doesn't mean that you don't say what you need to say, but you understand the importance of having the right tone and how you say it. It matters. And you're impacting people's mental health. Okay? Role modeling. Are you role modeling the good things that you want your employees to exhibit, your team members to exhibit, or the bad things? Because guess what? That's called social learning. And you know who else is social learning? Not just you as the employee, but the people that you work with. Mm-hmm. Your team members are being influenced by how your leader role models. Communication and feedback, it matters. Is your leader giving you positive communication? Using tact. Okay. This is Tactful Thursday. Are they using tact? Are they only giving you the bad feedback, the negative feedback? Or are they inspiring you, feeding you forward about what great things you can do next time? Are they providing support and recognition of your contributions and efforts? Or are they constantly avoiding that like the plague? Okay, they don't want to encourage you. They don't want to uplift you, nothing. What is their decision making like? And their workload, right? They're dictating that. They're making decisions about you and for you. Are they helping you move forward in your purpose, or are they holding you back? Are they giving you a balanced workload, or are they constantly asking for the impossible and then trying to make you feel bad about it because their expectation are just ridiculous? Okay. What about respecting boundaries? You have boundaries. Do they respect them? Or are they constantly crossing the line? How are they with conflict resolution? Do they address conflict or do they ignore it? Do they let it fester? Do they let it grow and become a bigger problem? What about trust and psychological safety? Do they foster that? Do you feel safe communicating your concerns? Do you feel safe being creative? And then what about vision and purpose? Have they communicated vision in a clear and distinctive way that you can take it and run with it? That you know the purpose that you have and bringing that vision into fulfillment? Or is there no vision and therefore the people perish? Is there no alignment with purpose? You see why that number is so high? Because leaders have a major impact on the mental health of their team. We need to be aware of that. It's not you just looking at people and saying they need to get it together. They need to do this. They need to do that. No. It's time for us to look at ourselves as leaders. And if we know that people are struggling and saying, what part do I have in it? How am I affecting this person's mental health? I see something's not right. I see them breaking down. I see them crying. I see the stress. What role am I playing in all of that? And it's up to us to correct it. Now, followership. Okay, grace towards your leader. Okay, because not all of us are the CEO. But even at the CEO, as a CEO, you have board of directors. Even if you don't have a board of directors, you have a community and clients that you're accountable to, that you're submitted to. And so no matter how high you go, no one is really exempt from followership, if you know what I mean. Okay, so this is important for all of us. Another interesting stat here. And you see this slide called the C-suite isn't sweet. Oh, the C-suite is not sweet. I tell people, if you're not called to start a business, if you're not called to be the CEO, the chief executive, if you're not called to that role, don't do it. Don't do it. You don't have the grace for it. This role not only requires a certain skill set, abilities, capacity. That's great. But I'm here to tell you, you also need the grace of God for it. Don't do it without it, because it's hard. It's toiling. And starting Lead My Heart, I think the most profound challenge of it all has been me. I learned so much about myself, what motivates me, what doesn't motivate me, what drives me, what I long for, my dreams. I've learned so much more about me in this process than anything else. And so, y'all, it's hard. And when those challenges come, you learn who you are and what you're made of. And I have found out I'm made of some good stuff, y'all. And you know what? You are too. But the C-suite isn't sweet. You do everything starting out as entrepreneurs, right? As you're building, you want to get to the point where you're not. But starting out, you're not only the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the CMO, you're the chief human resource, this and that, and you're doing everything. But evidence shows that CEOs are more prone to mental health conditions than their employees, their team members. We're good at pretending. We're good at walking in that executive presence. We're good at saying the right things and knowing how to motivate. Most of us, anyway, we're good at that. We don't want you to know that we don't know. We really don't want you to know that we doubt that we can really do this. We don't really want you to know that we stay up at night, how we're even going to fund this and get the funding for it. We don't want you to know that. We don't want you to know that we feel like an imposter most of the time, and we question, gosh, why me? Why, like, am I really qualified to do this? Chief executives, y'all, they're going through it. They're going through it. Executive leaders going through it. And the data shows more so than any other employee in the organization. Why? Okay. We have to realize that there's a heaviness, a weight that comes to, that office. And a lot of times, as followers, as middle managers, we look at that office, that position, and we make a lot of adjustments. They ought to do this. They ought to be able to do that. Da, da, da. And I'm not suggesting that some of that. I'm in a training, and the trainer said, for everything that's said, there's at least some 10% truth. You may not like it, but there's at least 10% truth to everything. And so maybe there's 10% truth to what you feel and why you feel it. But the truth of the matter is, they're dealing with a lot more than what you realize. And as followers of these chief executive officers, okay, that might be you, okay, in some capacity, in some area of your life, we got to understand that they are dealing with a lot as well. And they're not exempt, no matter how much they pretend, from dealing with mental health issues. As a matter of fact, they deal with them more. As a matter of fact, the people who are courageous enough to start these businesses, to be pioneers, to be champions, to forge a new path, you got to have a little bit of something going on there. Because it's not normal to want to do that. It's not normal to have such a drive and ambition and to be willing to make the sacrifices on a daily basis to do something that hasn't been done before. Yeah, something, I don't want to go throwing terms out there that will, I know, offend y'all. I'm not going to do that. But something, has to be abnormal to be able to do abnormal things. But it's about how we manage it. So, great. Your leader needs grace. Your leader needs grace. We've already talked about all the authority and influence you bring to your team members. They need grace. They need grace. But now we have to understand that as a follower, your leader needs your grace as well. They need your support and encouragement. Yeah, they need to hear it. You can do this. They need to hear you're capable. You're more than enough. Yes, they need to hear that too. I know a lot of CEOs are narcissists. Yeah, that's the data shows that. I'm not just throwing things out there. But you know what? A lot of narcissists are also very insecure. Very insecure. Deal with imposter syndrome. And so they're constantly trying to talk themselves up. They're constantly trying to put other people down and to fill that void. So from a real sincere place, they do need to know what they're doing well. Even in narcissism. Open communication. Be honest with them. Okay? Use tact in how you do it. They need honesty. They need to know what the real deal is so that they can make the right decisions. But they're only going to know as much as what you tell them. Okay? Great CEOs, they still aren't mind readers. Okay? Great leaders, they still are not mind readers. They might operate in the gift of discernment and have a gift of word of knowledge, but maybe not everyone, right? And so if you want them to know, if you want them to be able to respond to it, then you have to tell them. They need collaboration and cooperation from you. Remember, leadership is not one-sided. By them being your leader, you have agreed to their leadership. But that also has to be a sense of collaboration and cooperation with your leader. They need you. They can't do it all alone. Just like you need them to be a great and effective leader, they need you to be a great and effective follower. Okay? Respecting their boundaries. Yes, please do that. If they have established boundaries and protocols for how they want to be dealt with, handled, respect that just as much as you want them to respect your boundaries. Provide feedback. Yes, the negative and the positive. Okay. And do it in a timely manner. Okay. As needed. If they request feedback, then provide it. Okay. Recognizing personal professional life balance. They have a hard time recognizing it for themselves. So sometimes you have to help them. Sometimes you have to be conscientious enough to say, it's too late for me to make that phone call. It can wait till tomorrow. They're spending time with their family. They're spending time with their loved ones. I know they're trying to rest. Can this wait till tomorrow? Yes, it can. Can this wait to a more appropriate time? Yes, it can. Is there someone else who can manage this and deal with it? Yes. Yes. Okay. So we have to be mindful of that. Also, being solution oriented. Y'all, stop going to your leaders with only problems. One of the things that has always made me such a great follower is that after I hear my leader talk about problems that we're having, I go into prayer and I say, God, give me a strategy. Give me a solution that I can take back to my leader and say, let me lead the charge on this. Or maybe I don't have all the pieces to it, but at least let me help in gathering the team, the right people, the right information. Allow me to do the research to see if this is going to be a good avenue. Y'all, come back to the table with solutions. That is how you help your leader with their mental health so that they don't feel like it's all on them. Show appreciation for them. Say thank you. I appreciate you. I realize you're going out of your way, and I just want you to know that, like, I see it. I see you. I see what you're doing, and I really appreciate it. And in doing that, you help build a positive culture. Okay? Not just for your leader and in your relationship with that person, but also with an organization. And let me tell you, that's always going to help your leader with regards to their mental health, contributing to the positive culture, helping to foster that positive culture. And then lastly, by practicing empathy, by trying to get an understanding of what it's like to be them. Before you go act a fool, before you get outraged and upset and go off and really come out of character and be completely untactful in your delivery about the things that you're upset about. Because again, CEOs, chief executives, they're dealing with stuff too. So it matters how your tone, it matters your delivery, okay? All of that. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, if I were the chief executive, if I were my leader, how would I want me to respond to this? How would I want me to handle this? Have you stopped to ask yourself that ever? Then I want to encourage you to do that. As an act of empathy, how would I want me, okay, to handle this and act accordingly? That's how you can help your leader. That's how you can help add to, not take away from, but positively impact your followers' mental health. But also by not doing any of this, you will negatively impact their mental health. So we have to be aware. Now, lastly, but certainly not least, we talk about you, Grace towards you, grace for you in regards to heartpreneurship. Okay, let's talk about it. So here's some interesting stats. Because a lot of times, the devil will love for us to think that we are alone and how we feel, that we're the only ones going through, we're the only ones dealing with stuff, that we're isolated. Listen, according to a 2021 press release by Oracle, it said that 78% of workers say the pandemic has negatively affected their mental health. And we're still dealing with that. We're still dealing with that. I know that we've tried to recover a sense of normalcy. We don't really talk about COVID anymore. It's still out there. People are still getting sick. People are still dying. We don't want to focus on that. And I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, because what are people trying to do? They're trying to survive. They don't want to focus on it. They don't want to keep being reminded of their trauma regarding the pandemic. But 78% of us, at least, were willing to admit that the pandemic negatively affected our mental health in some way. I was just speaking to someone last week who said that they had a really difficult time during the pandemic being closed off from everyone. My difficulty was not being closed off. I loved it. I was happy, joyful to not have to deal with people. I'm an introvert, and, I'm just being honest. I was happy. I was super excited about it. My Achilles heel, my kryptonite, was the thought of coming back out. That's where I was dealing with social anxiety and anxiety towards work and anxiety towards ministry. I'm being honest with you. I had a really difficult time coming back out. And so I didn't come back out until I was ready. And I didn't allow anyone else to try to talk me into being ready, convince me into being ready before I was ready. Because when I came back out, I knew that people were going to expect me to be Juanita. They were going to expect me to be Dr. Mercer, to be, this leader, to be this person that they needed to pull on. They needed something from me. I wasn't ready to be needed. And I knew I wasn't ready to be needed. And I had to be honest with myself and give myself the time, therapy, all of that, to be able to come back out and be ready to be needed. And I did. I came out ready to be needed. As I did what I got the help I needed. I didn't put too much pressure on myself to rush into it. I extended grace towards myself. And I'm okay. Had I listened to people, had I allowed people to manipulate me before I was ready and come back sooner than I was ready, I would have ruined relationships. I would have torn things down. Why? Because I didn't have the mental capacity that I needed to exercise at that point. So that's my transparency. That's keeping it real. That's what I went through. Okay. We all dealt with it or continue to deal with it in different ways. 76% of people believe that their companies should be doing more to protect their mental health. But I think you also see here that it's not one-sided. And we also talk about the company. Always we're like, the company should do more. You know who the company is? You. We always think of the company as executive leaders and chief officers. Yes, that's somewhat true. They have a major impact, a lot of influence. But you know who the company is? Also you. What are you doing to help the organization move forward in that, because you're the company as well. But then I also thought that this was interesting, that 83% of people would like their company to provide technology to support their mental health. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that people prefer and want more technology? Well, technology is digital, robots, artificial intelligence. It's not a real person. Not a real person with judgments, biases, prejudices, a mouth to go run and tell that, to tell your business, all of that. I think that's what really people are looking for. Not that they're looking for more technology to use, but they're still wanting access to tips. They're still wanting access to strategies, just not access to the other broken person on the other side of traditional therapy, coaching, and things like that. Can we be honest about that? Can we be real that that's probably what we're really talking about? Is the difficulty in admitting our weaknesses and struggles to another person, but we're okay with doing it with an app or artificial intelligence? Well, are we? Because let me tell you something. All that audio, those journaling things, where's that going? That's someone's data. So is that the best solution? I don't know. But it is giving me an idea regarding how I can serve people better. Okay. In a way that might give you all more access to me and the coaching, but in a way that's less intimidating. And maybe it's not where you end, but perhaps it's where you start. So I'm going to pray about that and think about how I can serve you all better using this data as a guide. Okay. So what are the reasons that you're probably overwhelmed, frustrated, fatigued, almost burnt out, just dealing with so many mental health challenges right now? Because the stress from constant VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It used to be a time where we were like, oh, we're in the season of that. No. Now, don't we all feel like it's constant? Like there's constant volatility of the economy, of our organizations, of threats, of weakness, like constant things that we're dealing with, that we're trying to overcome, that we're trying to develop strategies for. It's overwhelming. It's tiring. And so we don't just undergo seasons of that, but it seems to be constant. And it may not be the same thing always, but maybe this right now it's at work, but in another season it'll be your marriage, or in another season it'll be your children, or in another season it'll be you needing to go back to school and the stress in dealing with that. Another reason is overwork culture. Like, why? What's all this about? And I have to keep coming back to myself and saying, girl, chill out. Like you're in control of what you do and why you do it. The workload that you're putting on yourself, the workload that you're putting on your team. Like, calm down. Where's all this pressure coming from? And I have to ask myself that. And I'm asking you that. Where's all this pressure coming from? When you are most likely the person who gets to decide what's going to happen. You decide the events, you decide the initiatives, you decide what you're going to take on. So who else is to blame? Really? And then we also hear, oh, everything's moving so fast. Going where? Where are we in such a hurry to get to? Exactly. Where is everyone rushing out to? That on the way there, We're burnt out. We're tired. We're tearing down relationships. We're tearing down our health. We're pulling our hair out, literally pulling our hair out because of stress. For what? Like, who's leading all of this? Like, are we at conferences talking about, hey, how can we stress each other out? How can we put so much pressure to move quickly and move forward that, like, we're all dying along the way quicker? We know we're all dying, right? But we're dying quicker. Why? Why can't we all agree to just slow down and to enjoy life and to be more meaningful in what we do instead of just trying to get things done quickly, but to be more intentional about it? Also, there's a pressure to be superhuman. Again, we put a lot of that on ourselves, as though we have to be the one to do it. We have to be the one to lead it. And really, that pressure to be superhuman is really showing a lack of leadership, a lack of training, empowering, and giving people the ability, the resources, all of that to be able to do more. Also, that feeling of leadership loneliness, as though you can't really share your struggles and challenges with other people, or that people will understand, or they'll look at you as being a weak leader. That's not okay either. That's not okay. And you're not isolated. We're all going through. We're all dealing with challenges. We're all trying to find that next client, that next partnership, that next grant, that next investor. We're all concerned about something. And that's okay. We're all struggling with something. We're all lack something. That's okay. In fact, that's where we're supposed to be, because otherwise, how would we be reminded every single day of our life that we need God? That we need each other to make things happen. Because as spiritual beings, we not only need purpose, but we need partnership in order to be able to do it. We were never meant to do these things on our alone. And so if you're feeling pressure to be superhuman, it's because you have not yet prayed for, sought out, and developed a team. Okay. Also, oh gosh, the high stakes along with being a chief executive. High stakes. Not only do you have your own wellness and well-being to look after, but all of your employees, your partners, then you've got your family to worry about, that if you don't do what you need to do, they won't have what they need. Or maybe you feel like that person is with you because of the status, because of your leadership, because of what you're able to do. What if you don't have that anymore? What if that goes away? Will they go away? Like, a lot there. We're dealing with imposter syndrome, feeling like we don't belong, like we don't have the capabilities, and that, we're not all that. Well, guess what? You're not. I'm not. We're not. We're not all that. And we probably don't qualify to do what we're doing, but it's okay. Because the mere fact that you show up every day to do your best, that you care for what you do, that you know how to partner with people who do know more, who can do more, the mere fact that God called you to this, that alone is enough to tell you that you are not an imposter. You are not an imposter. You were handpicked and chosen to do what you're supposed to do. That qualifies you enough. And then also the stress of still dealing with our adverse childhood experiences, our ACEs. People are dealing with a lot of trauma still and being triggered every single day in organizations, being triggered by their leaders, being triggered by their mentors, being triggered by their team, because we refuse to deal with our childhood trauma, Or let's not even talk about the adult trauma. You know, my ACEs as a child scores 0. There was no childhood trauma. Thank you, Lord. I had a very safe home to grow and be able to thrive in. I'm so thankful for that. I don't take that for granted because I know that that is not typical, unfortunately, and that breaks my heart. But my trauma began when I was an adult. You know, dealing with people, being in certain situations and circumstances, having to fend for myself, having to speak up for myself or not, and dealing with that. You know, dealing with therapy for that. So it's like we talk about ACEs as though that's the only time you've been traumatized, but it's not. You know, PTSD for certain things, we're all still dealing with that. And if we don't literally address that head on, we're constantly being triggered by those things in the workplace. And it affects not only us and our productivity and our future, but everyone around us. So these are the lies we believe. I'm highly successful at managing people in all aspects of my business, so I can manage and control my own mental health too. That's what we tell ourselves, right? I'm amazing at this. I'm amazing at that. I'm multitasking. I'm doing all this. I'm amazing at it. Why can't I manage my mental health too? Well, that is the question, isn't it? You're not supposed to. That's where you're lacking. It's okay. Here's another lie. I can't share my feelings and concerns with anyone because they will see me as a weak leader. That's not true. You can share your thoughts and concerns with a therapist who will not judge you, but is there for you and is confidential. You can share your weaknesses and areas of concerns with a coach, with me. Everything's confidential. I'm not going to judge you. Gosh, all I have to do is be reminded of my own brokenness and the things that I'm being challenged with, that I'm in therapy for and, you know, and seeking other support with. How can we judge each other? But you need to know that if you're there, there's therapy and coaching for that. Okay, that comes with a very tight-knit confidentiality clause. And then also, as long as I keep showing up to work, that means that my mental health is fine. Lies. How about the highly functional addicts? How about the people who are showing up to work, but you're having a breakdown at work? Just because you show up does not mean you're fine. And here's the last lie. I don't have time to get help. Nothing will get done without me. Lies. You do have time. You have 30 minutes. That's where I always start. Do you have 30 minutes? Is there something you can do for 30 minutes? Yes, there is. Then you can pick up the phone and make an appointment with the therapist. Or you can put a coaching consultation. I do emergency consultations. If you literally just need to talk it out and have a sounding board and someone to pray with you, you book that 30-minute emergency consultation. Okay? I'm here for you. You do have time to get help. And guess what? Things will get done without you. God forbid if you died today, you would find out. Things would get done without you. I know it's hard to believe, but there are actually people around you who are more capable than what you believe and are waiting for the opportunity to show you that. You need only to give it to them. There are people who are capable. There are people who have the skills and capacity to do more, to get those things done that you feel like only you can do. Yeah, there's some things that only you can do, but not many. That's the honest truth, not many. Okay. So stop believing those lies. Here's some warning signs. So you might be saying, gosh, how do I know that I'm having some mental health issues that I need to address? Changes in behavior. Are you more erratic? Okay. Or is your tone changing, the way you talk and communicate? Decreased performance. Are you all about mediocrity now? They ought to be glad to get this. I don't care. I'm just going to do the bare minimum. That's all I can do. That's all I have the energy for. Increased absenteeism. You're not showing up anymore. Isolation and withdrawal. Poor decision making. Because you're not even putting in the effort to understand or to learn what you don't know. Lack of energy and motivation. Noticeable anxiety and restlessness. Emotional instability. Physical symptoms like fatigue, constant headaches. You want to sleep all the time, just lack of energy. That is some really big warning signs. Eating poorly, maybe as well, but also neglecting self-care. Like how you look. A couple of days ago, one of my sisters was like, I've been concerned about you. It seems like you've been going through a lot because you just weren't yourself. You weren't, putting on makeup and things like the way you normally do. Now I know, yeah, you can take that and be like, how dare she say that? But she was right. She was right. I love to get myself together, put myself together. That's my personality. That's who I am. And then on the other extreme, I don't want to wear makeup, just a t-shirt and leggings, and I'm fine. I'm one extreme to the other. That's who I am. I'm either woo or like, didn't try it all. That's just who I am. That awkward middle, that's what I'm not okay with. But she picked up on that. And I was so grateful that she was attentive enough to me to say, like, are you okay? Are we good? I'm like, yep, I'm coming out of it. I'm good. I had a moment there, but like, I'm good. I'm good now. I'm coming on the other side of it. But that meant a lot to me because, and I also include aesthetic wellness in the 12 dimensions of wellness that I teach. Because how we show up matters, y'all. And if people aren't putting a lot of care into especially women, their appearance, their hair, just pulling themselves together. It doesn't have to be whatever their normal is, right? But if they're not even showing up as they normally do, or men just not putting a lot of care into their facial hair or combing out their hair, or everything is wrinkled, and y'all pay attention to that. Something's going on, okay? And pay attention to that with yourself. Most leaders seek what? Therapy? Nope. But they should. Do most leaders seek coaching? Nope. But they should. It's an incredible investment, especially executive leadership, because not only are we going to speak to challenges that you're dealing with personally, but also in your leadership. Okay, and do both. Prayer and meditation? Nope, but you should. Okay, you should be praying and meditating on God's word every single day to encourage yourself, writing affirmations for yourself, uplifting yourself, reminding yourself who you are. What do most leaders seek? And the data shows this: unhealthy, quick fix solutions. Is that you? Are you that leader seeking unhealthy, quick fix solutions? Are you drinking more? Is your idea of a good time wine? Not just to relax, but to feel something? Is it drugs? Is it pills? Is it sex? Is it gambling? What is it? Is it hurting people? Is it taking the energy from other people to make yourself feel better? Because you feel lacking in this area at home. Now you go to work and you're talking crazy to people. You're trying to make them feel a certain way so that you feel good and empowered. I would say that's the ego, but it's not. It's the idiot in us. The ego is what, kind of reconciles. We misuse that. It's not the id that is always the negative part of us. It's not the ego. It's the id that's the negative part of us. Thus the word idiot. Right? We can't do that. I love what Tabitha Brown says. She said, if you can't have a good day, don't you dare go mess up anyone else's, right? So these unhealthy quick fix solutions are not the answer. Therapy, coaching, prayer, and meditation. That is what's going to help pull you out. Those unhealthy quick solutions are only going to make the situation worse. It's going to compromise your reputation, your executive presence, your authority and abilities to be an effective leader. Okay, so don't turn to those things. So what can you do? And we're almost there. Hang in there with me. We're almost there. The remedies: praying and aligning, praying to God, aligning your life. That's one of the things I teach, the importance of alignment, by first identifying your purpose and then aligning the other 12 elements of our life with that purpose. Because whatever you're frustrated with in your life, that is out of alignment. I kid you not. If you want to see what's out of alignment in your life, just say, what frustrates me right now? Where's the source of all of my frustration? Boop, 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 boop. Right? It's like boop, 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 boop. Misalignment. Okay? Prioritizing self-care. Yes. Taking those breaks. Also setting boundaries. Saying no more. Do your best to say no at least once a day to something. Not just haphazardly, but I'm saying, but really saying, is this really something I need to do? Is this really something I need to take on? Sometimes it's not just saying no to other people. Sometimes the person we need to be saying no more to is ourselves. Me. No, you can't do that. No, you can't go binge watch TV, because then you're going to feel bad later when you didn't do the work you needed to do, and you're going to be stressing about that. No, you can't go spend so much money on this or that, because you know that's going to take you out of your budget, and then you're going to be stressed about your finances, and that's going to impede your mental health. Right? We got to learn to say no to ourselves more too. Also, seek support. We've already talked about therapy and coaching. Okay, and just a support group as well if needed. Celebrating successes. And you know who gets to define what a success is? Only you. Only you do. I don't care if completing your to-do list was like, oh my gosh, the last time it's been since I completed my to-do list on time. I'm going to go buy myself a nothing but cake butlet today. I love those. Celebrate your successes in the way that you want to, but no one else gets to define what your success is but you. Embrace your imperfections. We all got something. We all got stuff, y'all. That doesn't make you weird, crazy, isolated, alone. It makes you in great company. Okay? Because we all got our stuff. So it's okay to just own up to them and say, this is what I need help with. This is an area of weakness. Practice positive self-talk. with those affirmations, reminding yourself who you are and just saying, girl, you got this. You got this. Okay. Or dude, you got this. However you talk to yourself. King, you got this. Queen. Okay. Also taking breaks and rest. The Sabbath is necessary. It is not a suggestion. Okay. It is a command that we take Sabbath, that we rest, that we renew, that we get refreshed, that we have a moment in the presence of God to hear from Him, to get redirection, wisdom, and guidance for this journey. If it was good enough for God, y'all, it's good enough for us. And yet we go out of our way to not take Sabbath, or we make ourselves feel bad about not resting. Y'all, not only do we need that one day a week of doing much of nothing, or at least redirecting what we do away from work, but we also need that Sabbath during the day. Take your break, take your lunch, model that. Model the importance of getting a moment. One of the things I love most about working in China in education was that we had almost a 2-hour afternoon break every single workday. We were up super early in the morning. We worked hard in the morning, but I always look forward to about that hour lunch, and then that expectation of about an hour nap. An expectation for an hour nap. I still take my nap. Works about working from home and setting my own schedule. Let me tell you, I will take a nap in a minute. Why? Because it helps me to get refreshed and renewed. I also love to work late. I love my work, and sometimes I would like to be up working late. But guess what? I have allotted the time to still be refreshed and renewed throughout my day to be able to do that and then not interfere with my health and well-being. No, I know our culture is not set up for you to take an hour nap. But if you have your own schedule and work from home, do it. But if you're in the workplace, get you one of those pillows that we travel with on airplane, those neck pillows. Okay, shut your office door, put a sign that says 15-minute break or 30-minute break, wherever you're allotted, and you close your eyes and you get you some rest. You don't take a phone call, you don't take anything else, but you protect that time. It's important. Take your lunch, take your breaks, okay? But then also learn to reflect and learn. Reflect on your day, and to end at the end of the day saying, what did I learn today? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about others? What did I learn about God? What did I learn about my purpose today? And just taking the time to ask yourself those questions, y'all, powerful, okay? So we're here at the end. Just want to remind you all that as stewards of God's grace, that also includes you. That includes you. That you need to be a good steward of God's grace in serving yourself, being a good leader to yourself. Okay? And then also extending that to who you lead and how others lead you. Okay? Don't forget that. So, what are the key takeaways from today's episode? Number 1, grace is free and unmerited. Number 2, grace is needed in all 3 dimensions of leadership, which are what? Leadership, followership, and heartpreneurship. Okay? How we lead others, how others lead us, and how we lead ourselves. Number 3, leaders have the greatest impact on employees' mental health. You need to know that. You need to know and be aware and act on the fact that leaders have the greatest impact on mental health of employees. Number 4, followers must be willing to reciprocate the mental health support that they want from their leaders. You got that? We have to be willing to reciprocate it. And then number 5, stop lying to yourself. Stop ignoring the warning signs, okay? It's okay for you to get the help that you need. You need to get the help that you need. Stop making assumptions about people. Pray for God to send you people that you can trust and work with. And I pray that I am one of those people that you know from a sincere place that you can trust me, that we can work together, that you can be vulnerable and transparent about what you're dealing with. And just know that at Lead My Heart, we specialize in dealing with matters of the heart regarding leadership. Okay? This is a safe place to talk about those things. And then number 6, reminder that we're stewards of God's grace, and that extends to us as well. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging with me. Let me know how this episode has blessed you. I just want to remind you also that next week, Tuesday, May 30th at 7 p.m., I am hosting a webinar or workshop called AI Powered Personal Branding. Okay, where you're going to learn how to harness the power of ChatGPT. It's catching when people are learning about it, using it, afraid of it. You shouldn't be. We're going to talk about it. If you want to learn about what ChatGPT is and how to use it, but even more so, how to utilize it in personal branding and to help you get some things done. Okay. Use it as if you will, or that additional intern or whatever, that type of person you need in your organization to help you, especially as business owners or solopreneurs. You want to be at this workshop. It is $25. Trust me, it's not worth $25. It's worth so much more. Okay, that is just a token of appreciation for this moment, for this lesson, for this information. It also includes a link to the recording for you to watch for a limited time, up to a week after the workshop, and a workbook. So you want to be a part of this, okay? So you want to learn about ChatGPT, come check it out. So be sure to register for that on my website. And then also, you all, if you need coaching services, if you need a motivational speaker, if you need executive team coaching, I pray that you will consider Leap My Heart for these services. I pride myself in working in excellence, godly proud, okay? Trust me, there's many people out here that you could choose for your leadership development, for your executive coaching. But I'll tell you what they're not bringing to the table, and that's me, okay? I'm unique. I am special. My experiences, my skill set, my heart towards leadership is different and unique. And I pray that you can feel that even across this stream, as to who I am, and that you want to get to know me more, and want me to be a part of what you're doing. So scan the QR code in the corner of the screen, or go to leadmyheart.com/book, okay, and choose free partnership call and book your free partnership call today. Okay, so I can tell you about Lead My Heart, our services. You can tell me about your problem that you're having, and then I can come back with a plan for how we can help you. Okay. I love you all. Again, thank you so much for joining me for the series Grace and Leadership. I pray that it has truly, truly, truly blessed you and encouraged you, and has moved you to action. Okay. I pray that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, in everything you do and with everything you have, love God and love people. Goodbye.